Hey, horror fans. All right, Fear Street Part 1, 1994, the first of a trilogy, based on the books of R.L. Stine.
Yes, and I actually, as a teen, I read one or two. Can't remember which ones though, it's too long ago, but they're thin books.
Okay.
Yes.
I've never read a single R.L. Stine book. I just remembered those Goosebumps books, and that's like everywhere.
Yeah.
I've always seen it and never read it, but knowing that, I assumed that this was going to be some kind of like a teeny Halloween funny,
Bubblegum.
fun, scary kind of bubblegum horror, but it's pretty adult.
Yeah, it is. It is
You've
quite.
got axes in heads. You've got
They pull no punches.
sex scenes. So it's I'm not sure if they actually enhanced the books or if the books were written like that, or if. But then again, before we get to that, there are about 55 of these Fear Street books.
Wow.
So I don't know. The director Leigh, Janiak, is doing all three of these movies.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's read all of these. If he found a few, pulled them together, focused on some elements.
Yeah.
Because
You did say that the author is like, he's considered the Stephen King of the tween world or the teen world.
Yeah. And it's yes, I'm very interested to find out how this was actually put together with so many of these books. And I mean, all of his books have sold like 400 million
That's
copies
amazing.
worldwide. And
Wow.
the Fear Street ones, which he started around 1989, sold like 50 million copies.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's huge. So I'm interested to know if it was actually more teeny bopper or if they made it more extreme.
I don't remember which ones I read, but I remember it's almost like I've already spoiled my appetite for that by reading Stephen King. So it almost felt like a step back at the time to read R.L. Stine, and then you've already sort of had Stephen King.
Stine or Stine, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think in the comments. But no, this is also a Netflix exclusive, so you can only see it there. And they've been releasing them a week apart.
And it's been fun Friday night viewing. I come from an era where Friday nights were sleepovers and horror movies.
Go to the video store,
Yes.
pick some movies. Yeah.
And that was a Friday night. Yeah.
So the writer-director, Leigh Janiak, he only popped on the scene recently, like 2014.
Okay.
Did a movie HONEYMOON, and then did like a few episodes of the series Outcast, which is very cool. If you haven't seen that.
Oh yes, that was brilliant. Yes.
And a few episodes of the Scream series, and I think like one for another series, Panic. So yeah, he went from a couple of TV things to doing three horror movies, and it's quite a unique thing doing that, like a movie a week.
Apparently they shot them like back to back with just a month in between each one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was
So
it
I've
also
read.
during lockdowns and pandemic situations, probably?
I think so, yes.
So it was quite a job.
It's a feat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they split up into three different time eras. They start with 94. The second one is 1978.
That's
And the
correct.
third one, 1666. The first one starts off with a guy in a skeleton outfit. There's a
Yes.
little massacre in a mall with closing time.
Yeah, it's quite a
But then the whole story starts unfolding
from there.
why.
Yes. It's quite a hectic start. It's that first sort of introduction into the film. It's quite hectic, and I grew up with slasher films. It's not my first choice, but I get
But
the.
I guess it's like a stabbing thing.
It's such a personal
Yeah,
thing.
and
It's so up close and personal.
Also, if it's kind of graphic, if it's not out of shot, they do show quite a bit in here. It's far more gory than I expected it to be.
I would not let my young child watch this.
And
no.
it's definitely, if you think it's
for
like,
adults.
It's not a goosebump thing. It's definitely
It's not Sabrina.
It's
The
Sabrina, which it's teens, but it's for adults.
yes. Let me put it this way: the books feel like Buffy the Vampire Slayer caliber type of hecticness, but these films are not. They are they're definitely adult.
Like I'm saying, I haven't read any of them, so I'm assuming that it's kind of more kid friendly, but the movie's not. So if some of these books are like this, okay, cool. And if we're wrong, tell us.
Please do.
If you've read these, tell us if they're good, bad, crap, if they were intense, if they were actually very tame.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember yesterday, so I can't remember 30 years ago, 28 years ago.
Yeah, so you have these adjacent towns, Shadyside
Sunnyvale.
and Sunnyvale. It's kind of like The Simpsons with Springfield and Shelbyville. Kind of like rival towns. Yeah. There's the Sunnyvale guys, they're sort of more the wealthy.
It's more upmarket houses and smart.
And the guys in Shadyside, they
With a lower budget.
And they look down on those guys. But this is also where this town is notorious for being kind of the murder capital.
Yes, and the town is
state.
situated in Ohio. Yes.
And there's like this string, in the opening credits, you have your newspapers showing this killer. So across the ages, people have been murdered in and around this town. Yeah,
the town has got like this very horrible reputation of being the breeding spot of these horrific serial killers, basically.
Yeah, and they have this legend that the reason this is happening is a curse.
That's right.
A woman was accused of being a witch, and she cursed the town. And you have all these specific killers killing people in specific ways. So you've got stabbers and bashers and choppers.
You even have drowners.
They kind of all of these murder bases get covered.
It's horrific. It's all horrific. Yeah.
It's quite hectic, yeah. So it is kind of a bit of a reinvention of the whole slasher thing that's been done to death.
Yes, but it's a slasher thing, but it's got this paranormal idea.
Yeah, supernatural angle.
Supernatural,
to it.
That's right.
So it's not just a guy that can get shot and then that's that.
No.
And also don't want to give away too much, but they believe people get possessed.
Yes.
This witch possesses people to go out and kill people.
Yes, the witch is Sarah Fier.
Yeah.
F-I-E-R. And so the legend in Shadyside is that these killers are they come to being because she possesses them.
Yeah. So you have the set of kids. It's now, is it the same?
It's not 94.
But I mean, the next day after this mall massacre, the kids, they've got like a little thing at school,
a football game.
Football game, so they have this little memorial kind of vigil for the victims.
At the vigil that they have for the victims, Dina, who's the lead character, no, she is the lead character. She sees Samantha, who used to live in Shadyside, who now lives in Sunnyvale, with a boy, and it's clearly a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. And when Samantha was living in Shadyside, herself and Dina were in a gay relationship.
But I guess it's also they give you an expectation that when they talk about Sam, then you think that the boy there, that it's her boyfriend.
You do think it's a boy. That's right. It's clever, and also it sort of heightens the tension slightly because not only did Samantha move away from Shadyside to sort of get away from Dina, but it's like insult to injury because now she's with a boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so they handle it quite well, and it also gives a bit of a different angle.
It's interesting.
It's always, some people are going to complain and say, oh no, it's too woke or it's this or that.
It's reality, and
the world has many different flavors
exactly.
of people. And why should only straight people be victims of slashers? Equal opportunity,
Everyone should die equally.
Don't complain, just enjoy. There are different people on the planet.
And I think everyone needs to be represented. It's normal, it's natural.
And this doesn't feel forced. I know people
not
say,
at all.
Don't force it. Nothing's been forced here.
Not at all. It didn't have any sense of force.
These are the characters. They're in a perilous situation and they need to get out of it. So
that's it.
Things start going a bit pear-shaped.
At this vigil.
Yeah.
Yes.
What happens?
What happens is one of...
I'm trying to think how this whole thing kick-started
What
again.
happens is one of the boys from Sunnyvale says, this is all the fault of these shady side weirdos because the killer
And then-
always comes out of shady side.
And then Sam and her boyfriend and some other idiots trail their bus.
When they leave.
And then there's a crash, and then something happens where Sam has kind of visions of the witch.
That's right. And I think that is that's what we're not going to
Then
give
it
that
all
away.
kickstarts, but then after that, the skeleton costume killer pitches up again. And people get stabbed.
And not just the skeleton killer, but all
Some other killers
the
as well.
killers from the past also sort of come into the picture again.
Yeah, and they can't figure it out, but then not Sam's brother, Dina's brother.
That's right.
He's like sitting there in his computer, and it's sort of 1994.
Listening to White Zombie.
Yeah, that's another thing. We'll chat about the soundtrack now as well. They work some cool 90s music into it. So then he's got a...
He's a bit more brainy.
But he's sort of knowledgeable on the whole
subject.
Fear witch legend. And he starts putting things together, and they all, besides running for their lives, they need to figure out what's going on and how to stop
it. Yes, very cool. I enjoyed it. It for me initially. It immediately felt like, and I'm not yes, I was young in the 90s, but
where were you in 1994?
1994 was in my second year of study in Stellenbosch.
You were 20.
I was 20.
I was 24.
Yes.
We met about 6 years after that. We met in 2000.
And I remember not being a huge fan of the whole Scream vibe. And that already to me felt like bubblegum and not my generation. My generation was more Halloween and Friday the 13th.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's right. So it was this new sort of generation of Scream kids.
They had to reinvent it. So
absolutely, no.
They did a good job of that.
They did.
And that led to movies like Scary Movie and all those kind of spoofs.
Yeah.
So this one, it's definitely in that Scream vibe.
It absolutely, no, for sure. It immediately sort of brings back the era, and they do it so amazing with the music as well. The soundtrack.
And jumping to the second part, 1978, that goes to the Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it's more your sort of. It's almost like a prequel.
Summer camp slasher movie.
Yeah.
But what they also find out is there's a survivor from.
Which is quite crucial, and which is the link that ties the movies to one another. Yes.
And
apart from Sheriff Nick Good, who also is a link between the
and
two.
obviously the sheriff doesn't want to believe the kids, but you'll find out in 78 some more details.
Yeah, you'd think he would have reacted better.
But they can't give away too much.
No, obviously.
And, the authorities cannot believe the screaming teens at the start because otherwise they'll sort it out for them, possibly. But no, you can't actually sort this out because this is a supernatural thing.
That's right.
That keeps.
But if you think about it, we now say that the slasher can be killed. Yeah, many slashers can be killed, but if you think
tell
about
that to Jason Flores.
Yes, and
Freddy comes back. Everyone comes back.
Yeah, they all come back.
Michael Myers.
I shot him 6 times.
But I guess this one specifically comes with
very much a witchcraft thing attached to it. Recently, it's been Paranormal Activity had witch things attached to it. Drag Me to Hell. The witch thing is
Witches
actually
are real. I mean, it's a fact. It's not something that doesn't exist. But I mean, obviously, this is now taking it to the most evil of. Yeah.
But now it takes that, and then as a conduit, it becomes a slasher thing. So it's
which is interesting.
It's a cool combo
of
these.
No, definitely. I think that made it enjoyable for me.
I think they should have thrown in some cameos of. Like for the 94 movie, they should have thrown in some cameos of the people from Scream, maybe.
I don't know. I think it would have made it
Buffy.
Too obvious. It already.
For the 78 one, Kane Hodder could have just been a guy in the shop. It's easy.
I guess. But it already is, I think, there's no need to hint. It definitely feels, that's what makes it good.
Yeah.
So you really feel the era, 1994.
And Marco Beltrami did the soundtrack.
Brilliant soundtrack.
with Marcus Trump. Beltrami did
No
Iron Man.
relation.
Yeah, two P's. He did a Resident Evil soundtrack with Marilyn Manson. He's done the Scream movies, Mimic, one of the Crow movies, Blade 2.
And those movies also had good soundtracks.
One of the
Yeah.
Underworld movies, done
Yeah.
some Wolverine movies, so he's done some huge soundtracks. But now, besides the soundtrack, is you kind of forget about the soundtrack in these movies because it sort of just punctuates stuff,
Yes.
adds to the mood.
It's
But
great.
But
It
the
really
music,
is.
the music selection in this, I'm
was
sure it was
brilliant.
quite an expensive one because you've got Nine Inch Nails,
Yes.
White Zombie,
White Zombie. You've got Portishead.
Iron Maiden, Radiohead.
Yeah.
Man, what else?
Brilliant. It was
Cypress Hill.
fantastic. If you just watch it for the soundtrack, if you're a 90s baby, absolutely you'll
And
love it.
Prodigy is the song
Firestarter.
Firestarter for a scene, obviously, where that would link in. So yeah, and Alice Cooper's Cools Out. Some very, very cool stuff.
And it went through all the sort of different genres of 90s music as well. We went through grunge, we went through metal, we went through like the sort of new at the time, which was more new.
Yeah,
White Zombie was quite new at the time. Nine Inch Nails was flippin', blew everyone's heads off. That was new.
Soundgarden.
Yeah,
Then again, depends when you were born.
I guess.
Every period you will say that was a cool period for music.
I guess it's the one that gives you the memories. Yeah.
And I mean, well, since we've been around since the 70s, we've got a long stretch of music that we've experienced. But it's a good representation of the era.
Of the era. It's not just sort of, it's not that, it's a good selection because it's an eclectic selection. Everyone will find something in it.
But it's personally, it's a cool selection.
Yes.
They didn't pick crap music from the 90s, which they could have done.
They could have. No, it's all good. It's all good.
How do we not die? I'm looking at you, witch nerd.
Let me put it this way. It made the slasher vibe palatable for me.
Yeah, you can.
It's not just the girl running away. It's like these slashers, they don't discriminate. There's girl slashers, there's guy slashers, so they don't care if it's a girl or a guy that they're going to be slashing.
And it's all kinds of people running away from it. But also they figure out this way to try and stop this.
That's right.
Or they think they figure it out.
Which is halfway there, but
Yes.
it's not entirely there.
And it's cool that they don't exactly succeed.
That's right.
And in doing this, there's some pretty gory deaths.
No, definitely. Far out, man.
And there's, I'm not going to say who, but someone gets their head shoved through one of these bread cutters. So it's like, and coincidentally, that same week, we watched Ash vs. Evil Dead.
That's right.
Where
harp.
this one deadite gets squashed by a harp and Ash jumps on it and it, like when there's one of those egg cutters. That was quite funny.
Yeah.
But hey, if you like slasher movies, you like it. If you like supernatural horrors, you like it. If you're a kid of the 90s, you'll probably love it.
Definitely, for sure.
If you like horror movies, there's something here something in here will be cool. So you'll be entertained.
Don't let your kids watch it though.
Yes, that's
it's
one
not
thing
a
we
kid
have
movie.
to reiterate. I mean, I know we used to, when we were like 12, we tried to get the most intense, gruesome movies, but not everyone can handle it. We can handle it.
I couldn't.
Look how we turned out. We turned out
Yeah,
fine.
in therapy.
No therapy for me, thank you. That was my therapy. We listened to extreme music and watched extreme movies, and that chilled us out.
No, I saw very violent horror movies way too early in my life, for sure.
But like I said, it just depends on the person. So if you think your kid can't handle it, please don't let them
No,
watch.
I don't even think, your kids should not be watching. This is definitely, I would say, a 16 and up at the most.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you end up showing them first one, then they're going to want to watch the second and third one, then you can't say no. So just rather not get into it. We don't have kids, so it's not a problem for us.
Yeah.
Cool. Score time.
Yeah.
I'm scoring this one a 6.
I've changed my mind, and I'm also going to score it a 6.
So average 6. What were you going to do?
I was going to score it 5, but now talking about it, I actually enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than what I thought I did.
No, it had good pace. It's all unknown kids. I've never seen any of these actors.
And they were all good actors.
Yeah. So, good job all round. And I guess if the first one was crap and people would go, I don't want to watch the second and third one, I'm not going to waste my time. So it was good enough for me to go, right, let's watch 1978 today.
Yes, actually looked forward to watching. And it comes out on a Friday night on Netflix, which is great. It brings back that whole vibe for me.
Yeah. And if you didn't watch them on the kind of release date, you can watch them all back to back, like as if you're binging a show, and you watch these 3 movies in a row. It's quite cool.
Yeah. Make a whole horror evening of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then this jumps into 1978. It goes straight from this one, goes straight into 1978, which we will be reviewing now. But before that happens, like, subscribe, comment, tell us if you liked it, tell us if you hated it, tell us if you agree with what we've said.
Tell us if you can hear our chihuahua snoring.
Cool, we'll catch you later.
Lekker.